Yeah. Hello, in this video we're looking at getting from the High Court to Fort Kochi by ferry. We're taking the subway and getting off at Maharajas College. And then from Maharajas College, we're going to go ahead and take an Uber. You can also take one of these auto-rickshaws, or you can walk it in about 25 minutes. Alternatively, you can take a taxi directly to the ferry point. It's called the Water Metro at High Court. So here we are Ubering over to the Water Metro. Here we're passing the Subhash Bose Park. Now, this is a nice part of town. And while there's traffic, there's also lots of stores. There are street vendors like this, and there are higher-end stores as we approach High Court. The nice buildings here, many of them overlooking the water. And here we're about to arrive at the ferry point. It's this street, and we're arriving at the High Court Water Metro point. And we've got to step out of the taxi here and walk up to the waterfront. We'll fast forward a little bit on this, but you can get a view of the walk to the place where we need to get tickets and then board the ferry. This is the building that we need to go into to get our tickets. And that sign there says it's the Water Metro. And this is the High Court Water Metro. We get the tickets and board in this building, but the first step is to work through a security screening. Once inside, the ticket counters are on the left there, and once you have your ticket, you go through these gates to get into the waiting area for the boats. The boat runs about every 15 minutes from High Court to Fort Kochi, and once you're past this gate, you're in the waiting area. You might have to wait for a turn or two, but it's pretty quick. The lines may be long, and this is a weekday, but there are little benches that you can sit on while you're waiting. We'll probably go out of either Pier 3 or Pier 4. And this is the boarding line. The line's moving. Looks like we're going through Pier 4 here. That's Pier 3. And that's Pier 4. We're not going through Pier 4. Let's see where we're going. It looks like Pier 5. And then we walk down that ramp. There's a boat on each side. They're boats at different destinations. And these are pontoon boats. The Water Metro 07 is the one we're going to be taking. On the other side, we have another one. Not sure where that's going. But they tend to load one side at a time to avoid confusion. Once you're in it, you go into a closed room that's air-conditioned and comfortable. Grab a seat. It takes about 45 people seated and 50 standing. Here we're pulling out of Fort Kochi port. We'll fast forward through the boat ride. There's the bridge that connects the mainland to the islands. Now we're out in the open water. Let's take a look at what we can see. Those are the high-rises out there that overlook the waterfront. And this, I believe, is Bogati Island. If it is, that'll be the Hyatt, the Grand Hyatt here, and the Bogati Palace, which are two very nice hotels, well worth visiting. Those are the old traditional fishing nets that are still being used in this waterway here. We'll get a closer look at it as we get to Fort Kochi. Here we are arriving at Fort Kochi, and we can see the nets all primed and ready to go. When they are fishing, they'll drop the net into the water, let it sit there for a while, and then basically lift the net up and see what's in the net when they pull it out. Here we are disembarking, and we're at Fort Kochi, and we enter a hallway once we get through the gangplank here. There are those fishing nets again. On both sides. And now we're entering the hallway where you would buy tickets on the return trip. And as you walk out of the hallway, you're met by auto-rickshaw drivers and promoters offering tours off the island. That it's a pretty large island in terms of walking. It takes some time. It is walkable. However, we're at one end of the island, which has some of the tourist things, parks, etc. And there's another end, an old town, that would be a separate visit. We know where we're going. We've been here before, so we'll cut through the auto rickshaw marketing pieces. And on our right is a park where kids often play. There's children's park on the right. And if we keep heading in, let's see what this is. It's the Nehru Park in Fort Kochi. And as we keep walking, we pass the auto-rickshaw banks. Now you can actually talk directly to them and skip the tour operators. Making our way past the park, we end up in a shopping district right in front of us with hotels on the right. And there are hotels several streets in. Here's a unique bus. And now we're down that shopping street. And quaint little stores are on both sides. Restaurants, cafes, etc. And spice stores. It's worth taking a slow stroll down the street. Now we made our way through, and we've come to the other side where now we have a lot of street vendors here, and behind the street vendors is the water again. It's a lush green landscape, and the Vasco da Gama Square is to the right. There goes another auto rickshaw. We made it through the stores, and now we're at the beach. There's a boardwalk here, and the beach itself opening out into the ocean. You can hear the wind, local families at the water, but you do need to tread your way carefully through the material piled up on the beach. There's a lot of debris, and a fair amount of trash too. And here's a fishing boat coming back in. It's a traditional boat with a high bow. You can see the waves are pretty firm here and strong and rougher as you go out. And it's making its way into port. There's another one ahead of it that's made its way further in. You see how it's rolling with the waves. The wind is blowing quite clearly. We're back at the park now, the children's park that we walked at as we came by earlier. It's pretty nicely maintained, and it's used by visitors and locals alike. We're taking an Uber back to town, so here we're going to watch the change in landscape as we make our way to that bridge we looked at earlier, cross that bridge, and we'll be back in Cochin. We pass through a couple of police blockades as we exit Fort Kochi. That was the first one. And I think there's another one coming up ahead. I haven't seen anyone stopped here yet, but there's these barriers that indicate the police presence. We're still on the island. We're making our way towards the bridge. There's a park on the left. Looks like children's sports are happening there. It takes a while for us to wend our way through the island to get to the bridge. So often, Kochi Island is characterized as just the beach and the old town. And this is so much more, as you can see. Here we are approaching the bridge to get off the island. It's a single lane each way. And now we're on the open bridge, and we can take a look. There to the left, the docks and the construction going on, and then to the right, that's the other side, and then we come to the center part of the bridge, which has a higher clearance for boats to pass under. It's a cloudy day. And then we're on mainland Kochi. I hope you found this video informative, and thank you so much for watching.